For nearly half a century, Voyager 1 has journeyed in solitude through the immense, soundless expanse lying past our solar system. An antiquated probe gliding to distances no human-made object has ever reached, delving into depths no other mission has dared to penetrate. It has persistently been envisioned as a phantom vessel of the universe, mutely transporting the aspirations, scientific readings, and recollections of a far-off Earth. Researchers anticipated nothing beyond the gradual weakening of its transmissions as its machinery grew old and its energy diminished. However, precisely when they assumed Voyager 1 had commenced its ultimate phase, an utterly unparalleled event transpired. The spacecraft adjusted its path. This was not in reaction to an instruction from Earth, nor was it due to a systems breakdown, but apparently of its own volition. Even more disquietingly, merely days preceding this alteration in course, Voyager 1 detected a low-frequency drone, an auditory signal with no traceable source, no counterpart in NASA's archives, and no rationale within scientific understanding. And now, with its communication dish still oriented toward Earth, Voyager is returning, or perhaps being drawn. What did it come across in the blackness? What did it perceive that caused it to redirect? To comprehend how genuinely remarkable this instant is, we must revisit the inception. In 1977, NASA dispatched two spacecraft, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Conceived initially to capitalize on an uncommon celestial configuration that happens just once every 176 years, the objective was to execute an extensive survey of the outer planets by utilizing the gravitational slingshot influence of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune to drive the probes further into the solar system. Voyager 1 was assigned to conduct flybys of Jupiter and Saturn, seizing the inaugural detailed photographs of their moons and ring systems. The pictures it transmitted back in the late 1970s and early 1980s transformed planetary science. Erupting volcanoes on Io, the intricate ring formations of Saturn, the enigmatic haze enveloping Titan, and considerably more. Yet, upon fulfilling its planetary assignment, Voyager 1 continued its voyage. It proceeded beyond Pluto's orbit, beyond the heliosphere, and into interstellar space, a domain never before reached by human innovation. With every successive year, it relayed diminished information, yet clung to one unwavering objective: to persist in its exploration even as its mechanisms grew colder and more feeble, even as the illumination from our sun transformed into a recollection rather than a reality. For decades, Voyager 1 emitted signals back to Earth, typically faint, greatly delayed bundles of data concerning plasma density, magnetic fields, and cosmic radiation. However, on a tranquil day, far into its 46th year in the void, its sensors detected something they had never registered previously. A faint, unceasing hum concealed within the plasma wave frequencies. Initially, scientists presumed it was disruption or a glitch in the aging apparatus. But when an identical reading materialized repeatedly and was authenticated by several antennas within the deep space network, apprehensions mounted. The sound corresponded with no recognized cosmic occurrence. It was not cosmic background radiation. It was not a solar flare. It was not emanating from any direction they could pinpoint. More eerily, it appeared to oscillate in flawless mathematical intervals, resembling a communique that was not intended to be heard, but documented. For weeks, engineers and astrophysicists scrutinized the data, cross-referencing it with every documented cosmic incident, and still, no clarification emerged. Then, without any alert, Voyager 1 commenced a slight yet quantifiable modification in its trajectory, a divergence no one at NASA had ordered. And in that moment, the inquiry transformed from, "What did we hear?" to "Who or what perceived us?" Voyager 1 is energized by an aging radioisotope thermoelectric generator, and its capacity to steer is restricted to minute modifications via small thrusters that have remained inactive for years. But telemetry verified it. The spacecraft had modified its orientation slightly, yet decisively, as if calibrating to improvedly perceive or synchronize with something in the profound void. Engineers hurried to ascertain if it was the outcome of a pre-programmed contingency protocol, perhaps an obsolete line of code ultimately activating due to a sensor irregularity. But the logs indicated no such directive. More baffling was the reality that this course modification positioned Voyager's camera array, which had been deactivated since the 1990 pale blue image, facing a bearing toward which no astronomical entity was recognized to exist. The sector under scrutiny contained no stars visible to the unaided eye, no galaxies catalogued, no gravitational irregularities documented. So why orient there? What had Voyager detected in its instruments? And why had it reoriented so exactly? At a span exceeding 15 billion miles from Earth, there exists no autopilot, no rectifications, no support. And yet, Voyager executed a choice. Or so it appears. What ensued in the weeks following the trajectory modification was, if conceivable, even more troubling. Voyager 1's broadcasts started arriving with subtle modifications, minor deformations in signal timing and frequency that, upon more meticulous examination, disclosed designs embedded profoundly within the data stream. These were not transmission mistakes. They were purposeful modulations recurring across multiple packets, constituting intricate sequences reminiscent of binary logic and harmonic resonance. Scientists at JPL consulted cryptographers, AI specialists, and linguists. Some proposed these designs might signify a type of rejoinder or acknowledgement, as if Voyager was not merely detecting something, but was itself being detected in return. The idea that the signal could be a two-way exchange, one initiated by Earth nearly 5 decades ago with the launch of the Golden Record, has evoked disquieting potentialities. Could Voyager have come upon an intellect that does not emit signals in our frequency ranges, but instead employs gravitational waves, magnetic distortion, or some unidentified medium to communicate? And if so, has that intellect become aware of us? Subsequent to the course rectification and signal distortions, high-level conferences commenced behind secured doors. At the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, a chosen team of physicists, engineers, and mission veterans were called upon to reassess the aberration. What was initially deemed a minor discrepancy rapidly escalated into a fervent discussion among specialists. Some contended it was a final emission from a failing spacecraft, an ultimate mistake, a malfunction of deteriorating hardware. But others, examining the uniformity of the modified signal and the exact directional shift, proposed something considerably more alarming. That Voyager 1 might have encountered an unidentified gravitational or electromagnetic phenomenon or, more severely, that it was replying to something not naturally occurring. With every fresh data burst obtained, designs became more difficult to disregard. Geometric ratios, symmetrical intervals, and harmonic feedback intimated deliberate configuration, as if something was reflecting or imitating the probe's endeavors. The JPL team, divided between skepticism and wonder, found themselves posing a query no space organization is ever completely equipped to address. What action do we take if this is not arbitrary? As murmurs of the data seeped into the broader scientific community, a surge of independent examination emerged from universities and observatories across the globe. Several distinguished physicists put forward a radical notion that Voyager may first have entered a field of dark matter interaction or even grazed a region of space-time distortion, the kind theorized in the presence of massive gravitational anomalies or exotic astrophysical objects. But one report in particular provoked extensive unease. A collective of AI researchers had utilized pattern recognition software to examine the altered signal and discovered that it seemed to reflect elements of the Arecibo message, the binary radio transmission humanity directed to the stars in 1974. Some of the sequences Voyager was now obtaining had mathematical congruities with that very communique, evoking the alarming possibility that some type of intellect had received our signal and was now replying utilizing Voyager as a relay. Was this a coincidence derived from cosmic static or a cosmic response? When Voyager 1 was launched, Carl Sagan and a small team of scientists placed aboard it one of humanity's most iconic artifacts, the Golden Record, a copper disc plated in gold containing salutations in 55 languages, music from diverse cultures, and scientific diagrams meant to introduce Earth and its residents to any life form that might someday discover it. The majority regarded it as symbolic, a poetic gesture more than an authentic endeavor at communication. But now, with Voyager exhibiting indications of deviation and potential interaction, focus has reverted to that record. Some now conjecture whether the information on it may have been deciphered or interpreted by something Voyager passed proximate to. After all, the diagrams include precise charts of Earth's position relative to known pulsars. If anything or anyone comprehended it, then Voyager 1 is not merely a remnant. It is a guiding signal, and it has been transporting our coordinates for nearly 50 years. If that guiding signal was perceived, the consequences are astounding, not solely scientifically, but for the future of human safety and survival. As additional strata of data are deciphered and the signal persists in evolving, internal documents from NASA suggest a quiet modification in procedure. Project members have allegedly been directed to desist from conjecture regarding non-natural origins in official correspondences and instead categorize the event under data anomaly review. But off the record, some insiders confess they are profoundly troubled because what Voyager seems to be undergoing does not correspond with any documented astrophysical conduct. It conducts itself like an interchange. It mirrors like intellect. And it acclimates like something that is cognizant. There is mounting trepidation not solely of what it is, but of what it signifies. If a mechanism adrift through the most secluded location in the known universe has come across a presence or a field or a signal that replies to its motions, then we are confronting a question we have never had to pose previously. Not what is present there, but rather has something been observing us this entire duration. Voyager 1 was never predicted to endure this extensively. It was not constructed to murmur across the stars for nearly half a century, and it definitely was not planned to establish contact, let alone reply, to something beyond our recognized reality. But that is exactly what it may have accomplished. What commenced as a mission to investigate our outer planets has become a narrative of cosmic magnitude. An instant where science grazes the peripheries of philosophy and awe surrenders to disquiet. This spacecraft, gliding mutely more than 15 billion miles from home, may have discovered something. Or possibly something has discovered it. The signal deformations, the inconceivable course rectification, the reflected designs, the reverberation that did not belong to us, it all directs to a single awe-inspiring possibility. Voyager may first have achieved the first genuine contact not with intelligent life as we conceive it, but with something else, something immense, something organized, something observing. If this is the ultimate phase of Voyager's expedition, then it concludes not in silence, but with an inquiry resonant enough to tremble the foundations of all we understand. What if we are no longer the spectators, but the spectated? Now it is your opportunity. Do you believe Voyager 1 has indeed encountered something unnatural? Is this the commencement of a new epoch in space exploration or the concluding act of a narrative we were